Hello viewers, myself Amarendra Reddy from Electrical and Electronic Engineering Department. Here I am going to discuss about some questions related to root locus from the word control system topic, where we will be having these questions like in the standard of what we will say AEE electrical engineering stream, as well as even polytechnic lecturer exam stream kind of questions, right? Means like that we selected these questions to just discuss the root locus concept with these kind of questions. Some questions we are having here, just look into these questions one by one, so that we can have some brush ups related to these root locus topic, right? Now we will go with these questions one by one. Let us have look at this first question here. A trans function has a second order denominator and a constant gain in the numerator, then what will be the its root locus? Some comments they given in the options. If you see this its open loop trans function, right? Here I am writing its open loop trans function as g of s h of s. What is saying here? Constant gain in the numerator, so I am selecting it as k, that is in the numerator, and in denominator a second order denominator means definitely should consist of two poles here, like I am selecting like s plus a or s plus b, or some poles also I can select here. Got the point? Here number of poles, I am indicating number of poles with p. So number of poles are how many here? 2. Number of zeros are how many? That is open loop zeros are what? 0. So what are the number of branches exist here? If you draw the root locus for this, okay. Suppose I am assuming that even b is greater than a. So where these are located here? Here one pole is located minus a, another one is located minus b, right? So definitely here we will be having two branches, and again how this system contains. Look at the statements given, means in the options. A system has two zeros at origin is not a right option here. System has two finite zeros are also not the option. Now the system has two zeros at infinity and the system has 1 0 is at infinity. So two poles, right, and no zeros here. So definitely what are the asymptotes exist here? Two angle of asymptotes will be there. So if you find the rules one by one here, what will be the second one here? Number of asymptotes is equal to p minus z. So n is equal to 2 minus 0 means 2. So two asymptotes are there, means then what will be the angle of asymptotes here? Two angles we will get automatically 2 cube plus 1 into 180 by 2, where q is equal to 0 comma 1. If you substitute q is equal to 0 and 1, we will get 90 and 270. Means in between these two will be having a breakaway point. One branch travel along with this 90 degrees, okay. Got the point? One branch travel along with this 90 degrees, another one is travel along with this 270 degrees, okay. So what we can say here, branches, one is along with this 90 degrees axis, another one is along with 270 degrees. In searching we are saying, in searching zeros. So when k equal to infinity, one branch terminates at this infinity, another branch k equal to infinity means terminates at infinity in searching zeros. When k equal to 0, both branches are starting from here, right, and terminates at infinity in searching 0, means what is the meaning? System definitely should has zeros at infinity, then only we can have that chance. What is that? When two poles only present, definitely at infinity zeros must be there, so that root locus branch starts at what poles and terminates at what 0. So definitely there must be a what two zeros at what infinity, must be the what right option here. Okay. Now let us move on to the what another question here. Okay. So if you observe this, a unity feedback system has open loop trans function given as what k by s into s plus 4 into s plus 16. Its root locus plot intersect the what j omega axis at what point is saying, okay, right. Now if you just observe here, first point, if you see how many poles are there here, number of poles is equal to 3, number of zeros is equal to 0. Definitely will be having asymptotic axis, so n is equal to p minus z, so n is equal to 3. So whenever we have 3 asymptotes, what are the asymptotic axes we will get? What are the asymptotic angles? 3 angles we will get. What are those? 2q plus 1 into 180 by 3 we will get. Means if you substitute q is equal to 0, 1, 2. So we will get angles like what 60, 180 and what 300 degrees we will get. So if you even locate that, okay, what we will get for this root locus? Pole is located what 0, another pole is located what minus 4, another pole is located at what minus 16. Okay. So angle of asymptote, centroid, if you find, what will be the centroid? Centroid sigma is equal to sum of real parts of poles, means 0, minus 4, minus 16, minus of 0 by what will get what 3, means minus 20 by 3, minus 20 by 3. Got the point? Somewhere here minus 6 point something. Here we will get what angle of asymptotic axis here. So when you just draw this angle of asymptotic axis, this is what 60 degrees and this one is what 180 degrees and this one is what 300 degrees. So definitely breakaway point exists and this branch terminate along with this, and here in between these 2 points one branch terminates here, another branch terminate along with this. Okay. So here these 2 branches are what crossing the what imaginary axis. At what point these are crossing imaginary axis? That is the what question. Its root locus plot intersect the what j omega axis at what point? How to get with that? Definitely we should follow with what characteristic equation, that is 1 plus g of s h of s is equal to 0. If you follow with that, 1 plus k by s into s plus 4 into s plus 16. If you further simplify this entire characteristic equation, we will get what s cube plus 20 s square plus 64 s plus k is equal to 0. If you follow with RH array, okay, we can find this intersection point with imaginary axis from what RH array. If you frame this RH array, s cube, s square, s power 1, s power 0. If you fill the elements here, we fill the what RH array by selecting the what alternative elements, right or not? First row means 1 and what 64 we will get. Second row will be what 20 and what k. So what is the value we will get? 20 into 64 means 1280 minus k by 20 and this one will be 0 and here we will get k. So exactly s power 1 row becomes 0. S power 1 row becomes 0 means 1280 minus we get what k marginal value which is equal to 0, means k marginal is equal to exactly 1280. Exactly at k equal to 1280 it crosses the what imaginary axis. Then how to get that exact point here? If you use this just above that equation, we call that as what auxiliary equation. What is that? 20 s square plus k is equal to 0. if you use that 20s square plus 1280 is equal to 0, from here s square plus 64 is equal to 0. This is our auxiliary equation. What we are saying? S square plus 64 is equal to 0. From here substitute s is equal to j omega. So here omega is equal to what we will get, root 64 means that is plus or minus j 8. This is the what crossing point, means here exactly when plus j 8 and here it is what minus j 8, but at what point it is crossing? At k is equal to what? 1280. When k equal to 1280, here k is equal to 1280, frequency is what? Plus j8 or minus j8. One branch is like plus j8, another branch is at what? Minus j8. It is crossing the what? Imaginary axis. Then this must be our right option, because question is about what? Finding the intersection point with what? J omega axis, means third option is the what? Correct one. Understood how we applied the what? Different rules and regulations in this question. Now let us move on to the what? Next question here. Okay. So if you observe here, the breakaway point of the root locus from the real axis for a closed loop system with loop gain is given. Okay. So between means where that breakaway point exists. First, if you draw that, means while estimating closed loop system stability, we are using open loop, and if you observe here, how we will get what? Root locus here, means if you locate the what? Just poles and zeros, right? Poles are located what? -2 and what? -5. Got the point? And 0 is located what? -10 based on the given one, right or not? Now definitely here if you notice, number of poles are how many here? Number of poles, look at that, only 2. Number of zeros how many? Only 1 is there. So angle of asymptotes how many we get? Number of poles minus number of zeros. 2 minus 1 means only 1. So what are the asymptotic angle? We will get what? 2q plus 1 into 180 means one branch terminates along with what? 180 degrees, right or not? So definitely if you observe here, breakaway point exists in between what? In between these 2 points, right? Got the point? So root locus, branch directions also I am indicating. So definitely we will get like this somewhere. So root locus branch, right? And here branch breakaway point, right? So what will happen? So one branch terminates at this what? 0, another branch is what? Terminate along with what? 180 degrees axis in searching what? 180 degrees in searching what? 0. So this blue color one indicates our root locus. So if you observe, what is the question? The breakaway point exists in between. Okay, here only we get what? Breakaway point. So where breakaway point exists, the question is what? Breakaway point exists in between what? -2 and -5. Which option? Okay, in between -2 and -5 only. So fourth option is what? Correct. Right or not? For this question, fourth option is correct. In this way you have to answer by just checking the what? Root locus for the given open loop trans function. Now let us move on to the what? Next question here. Now if you see that there are 3 zeros, okay. So if you observe here, open loop trans function will be what? Standard form like this, k into z of s by what? P of s like this, where z is indicating what? Z of s will give the what? Open loop zeros, and P of s gives what? Open loop poles, right? Here I am considering that if P is equal to what? Number of poles, that is P is equal to number of open loop poles and Z is equal to number of open loop zeros, right. So, whichever is greater, okay, p greater than zeros means what will happen here? Number of root locus branches, number of root loci or root locus branches is equal to p only, or even if z is greater than p also, number of root locus branches or number of root loci nothing but root locus branch only, which is equal to z, whichever is greater, that will be our number of root locus branches. If p greater than z, so z poles will be terminates at what? Z zeros only. What about remaining? P minus z number of poles terminates at what? Infinity in searching what? 0. Again, if z greater than p, number of root locus branches will be what? Z only. And then p poles terminates at what? P zeros only. Leftover z minus p branches arrive from infinity and terminates at what? 0. So, here question is what? There are 3 zeros is saying and 2 poles. So, what are the root locus branches? It's 3 root locus branches will be there, right. 2 poles terminate at what? 2 zeros, and 1 branch arrive from infinity and terminate at the what? Third zero. So, number of root locus branches or root loci will be always whichever is greater or both are equal also, that one we need to take. So, here 3 zeros means 3 root locus, got the point. So, number of root locus branches or root loci will be same, that will be based on the what? Number of poles and zeros, whichever is greater than other. So, greater value is our number of root locus branches or root loci we say, both are equal means equal number of root locus branches or root loci we will get, right. So, first option is correct for this. Now, move on to the next question here. Okay. So, unity feedback system as forward path, this is the function, then where that breakaway point exists is saying. Okay. Now, if you see that here what will be the question is just only asking the what where that breakaway point exists. If you just locate the what poles and zeros, only poles are there. At 0 we have a pole, at again -4 we have a pole, again we have a pole at what? -5. Okay. So, here definitely if you see number of poles are how many here? 3. Number of zeros? 0. Number of asymptotes we will get how many? 3. What are the angle of asymptotes we will get? 3 angle of asymptotes will get what? 60, 180 and 300 we will get. So, centroid will be there. Centroid we find, okay, sum of real parts 0, -4, -5, minus of 0 by number of poles minus number of zeros means 3. So, sigma is equal to -9 by 3 means -3. -3 is the what? Centroid. Got the point. Centroid will be what? -3. Okay, here centroid sigma -3, where angles will be like this. This is what? 60 degrees. This one is what? 180 degrees, and this is what? Our 300 degrees. So, here definitely breakaway point exists. Okay, look at here. When you just draw the root locus, anyway here 3 poles and 3 branches definitely terminates at what? Infinity only, because there won't be any sufficient number of zeros here, right or not. So, here this branch terminates at what? Along with 180 degrees in searching what? 0. Definitely in between what? 0 and 4 there exists a what? Breakaway point somewhere here. One branch travel along with this, right? Another branch travel along with this. Are you understanding? So, definitely there exists a breakaway point in between what? 0 and -4. That is the only question. Breakaway point lies in between what? 0 and -4. Okay, 0 and -4, and then crosses the imaginary axis and travel along with this what? 60 degrees. One branch along with 60, another branch is along with what? 300, and anyway this branch is travel along with what? 180 degrees, right. Anyway, crossing imaginary axis and at what value of k, again what will be the intersection point, that we already seen in the what previous one, that will give what k marginal, means in between 0 k less than k marginal only system is what stable, because when k what greater than k marginal, automatically system fall under what, unstable. Beyond this crossing point, system fall under what, unstable category. Are you understanding here how we are covering concept of root locus with these different kind of examples? But again these are in our standard. Okay, standard means questions must be related to our kind of exam only, means without any calculator we need to answer this, only just with analysis and the concept and whatever the rules and regulations we have for this root locus, completely based on that, like that only we need to expect a question, because calculator is not allowed, right. So with the same kind of standard only we can expect what in the exam, like that we are having these questions. Now let us move on to the what, the next question here, what we have in this. If you observe whether a given point in the S-plane lies on the root locus of a system can be determined by the what. So how to check that? Observe here, here we have both the angle condition as well as what angle and magnitude condition, right. Are you understanding? Angle and magnitude condition. Angle condition purpose is to check that particular point is to be a part of root locus or not, whereas magnitude condition is to find the system gain k at that particular point, but it is valid only when angle condition is what, satisfied. So how we are saying here, how we are writing this statement? Observe here, to check the given point, to check given point is to be a part of root locus or not, angle condition is used. Angle condition is used. So what is the angle condition? Phase angle of the system must be equal to an odd multiple of what, 2q plus 1 into 180, odd multiple of 180, then only it is what, angle condition, right or not? Angle condition means it must be an odd multiple of 180. This is for what, negative feedback. For negative feedback, odd multiple of 180, right or not? So what is the question? Whether the given point is in the S-plane is lies on the root locus of a system can be determined by the what? Phase angle condition. Got the point? And the next one, okay. So phase angle condition is to check the particular point is to be a part of root locus or not. Okay, and if the point is to be a part of root locus, phase angle at that point must be an odd multiple. Okay, 2q plus 1 indicates what? Odd multiple of 180 degrees. Okay, if that point is to be a part of root locus, must be what? An odd multiple of what? 180 degrees. So based on that, so root locus means check the validity of the point is to be a part of root locus, means that must be what? Satisfying the what? Phase angle condition. Okay. Next, when you look at the what next question here, what is there here? After drawing the root locus, the closed loop poles corresponding to a specified value of gain k, right, determined from which of the following criteria? Magnitude condition only we use. Okay. So what is 1 plus g of s h of s is equal to 0. This is the characteristic equation for the what? Negative feedback system. From here what is g of s h of s is equal to minus 1 plus j0. If I write the magnitude condition, what is the magnitude here? G of s h of s is equal to square root of real part square plus imaginary part square. If I do, what is the magnitude we get at a particular point, which is equal to 1 we get, means magnitude condition is valid only when we check the what phase angle condition, right or not. But anyway, to find system gain k, okay, to find the value of gain k, which condition we use? Magnitude condition is used. Magnitude condition is used because question is only to find. So, which one is correct answer here? Magnitude condition is the what correct answer. But what is important point we need to, it is valid only when phase angle condition is satisfied. Phase angle condition is understood. Magnitude condition is valid only when phase angle condition is what satisfied, but it is to find the what value of system gain k. Understood. This is the what right option we need to choose here. And next, when you go with the another question here, what is the another question here? Consider the what following statements regarding the what root locus. You observe the word statements one by one, and if you read the question, question is about what, which of the following statement is what not correct. Don't make mistake, okay. Don't be in a hurry when question is there in the exam. You need to be understand that whether question is about to finding correct statements or not correct statement. Don't do mistakes, okay. Even though you know the logic and concept everything, if you are not concentrating the statements, definitely you will make the mistake, right. And that option also waiting for us in a first option like that, okay. So, now which is not correct is saying, okay, breakaway point always occur on the what negative real axis, but it is not compulsory. Breakaway point sometimes even occur on what even imaginary place also, it is not compulsory. A point on the real axis lies on the root locus if the total number of real poles and zeros to the right hand side must be what? Even number is saying, okay, right. But if you see, okay, for example, if I am considering this root locus, I am considering this kind of, okay, this is 0, sorry, pole is located 0, and what we are saying here, it is what 0 located what -1, again pole is located -2, 0 is located what -3. Suppose if you draw the what root locus branches, root locus will be like this, and here root locus will be like this. Now, if a particular point is to be a part of root locus on real axis, select any point. Suppose -1.5 if I select, to the right hand side of -1.5, how many poles and zeros are there? 2. So, a point on the real axis lies on the root locus if the total number of real poles and zeros is a even number is a wrong statement, because -1.5 is not a part of root locus. Suppose if I take -2.5, look at this, if it is -2.5, to the right hand side of -2.5, 1, 2, 3 means what is the correct statement? The number of branches of root locus going to is equal to the difference between the number of poles and zeros. It is a correct statement, and for the right hand side of this must be odd number. So, the value of k on the root locus can be determined by using magnitude condition is also correct statement. So, which are not correct is saying, okay, breakaway point is always, it is a wrong option, okay, right, means wrong one, wrong statement. This is also wrong, means 1 and 2 are the what? Wrong statements related to root locus of a system. So, which one is correct option? These are not correct. Suppose he is asking which are correct, means third and fourth options you have to, third and fourth statement you have to choose. So be careful when a statement is given whether he is asking correct or not correct. Okay. Now move on to the next question here. Okay. What is the thing he is asking? The system is having what trans function like this drawn on the root locus, and he is asking what centroid for that. Centroid, okay, centroid is what, if you talk about centroid, it may or may not be the part of root locus. It may or may not be a part of root locus, but it is always located on real axis. Okay. And again it is the intersection point of angle of asymptotic axis. And how to find the centroid? Here we have a formula. What is that? Sum of real parts of open loop poles minus sum of real parts of open loop zeros by number of poles minus zeros. Now you substitute, okay, in this formula, what we get? Only real part. How many zeros? We have only one zero. What is the location here? Minus 0.5, this is the location. And for here pole is located towards 0. And here s square plus 2s plus 2 means what we will get? 2 poles will get what? This is what first one, and this is what second and third pole, right? Because here 3 poles and 1 0 is there. Got the point? So number of poles are how many here? 3 poles, and number of zeros how many here? Only 1. So n is equal to p minus z. So n is equal to 3 minus 1, that is what? 2. So if you simplify here, what we get? Minus b plus or minus means minus 1 plus or minus j b square minus 4ac. How to find the roots for this? I am talking about this. S square plus 2s plus 2 is equal. So what are the location of these poles? How to find this? Minus b plus or minus square root of b square means 4 minus 2a, c is what? 2 by 2a. If you simplify, minus 1 plus or minus what we get? 4 minus what we get? Okay, 2a, right? So it becomes what? 0, but anyway by 2 means minus 1 by 2 we will get, right or not? Means located what? Minus 1 and minus 1 only we will get, right? So anyway, how we take here real parts of poles means here 0, minus 1, and here sum of only 1, that is what? Minus 0.5 divided by 3 minus 1 means 2. So further if you simplify, what we will get? It is minus 2 minus of minus means plus minus 2.5 by 2, right or not? Minus 1.5 by 2 means how much we get? Minus 0.75 is the what? Centroid. Anyway, question is about to find the centroid, and minus 0.75 it is available. So this is our right option here. Okay, centroid description we given, and how to find centroid here? Sum of real parts of open loop poles minus sum of real parts of open loop zeros by number of poles minus number of zeros. If you follow with that, we get the what? Centroid quantity. Okay, centroid may or may not be a part of root locus, but always located on real axis, because we are considering only real parts. So, for this question what is the right answer? Minus 0.75 is our answer. So, now when you just move on to the next question, observe the next question here what we have. The trans function of forward path of a unity feedback system is given like this, and if point S is equal to J3 lies on root locus, what is the value of K is asking. Means he is saying that S is equal to J omega, means omega is equal to 3, it is a part of root locus, then what will be the gain K at that value? Okay, how to find this? You need to use magnitude condition. What is G of S when S is equal to J omega, which is equal to 1. So, from this you can find where omega is equal to what? G of J omega, where omega is equal to 3, which is equal to 1, because magnitude condition, from that only we find the what we will say, gain K. So, here K by, I am just substituting here S is equal to J omega, means J3, and here J3, right, J3, got the point, J3 plus 1, and this one is what, J3 plus 9. So, this magnitude is equal to 1 if you do, then we will get the what? System gain K. So, K by magnitude if you find, this is 3 into square root of 1 square plus 3 square, means real part square plus imaginary part square. And here also if you do 9 square plus 3 square, if you find magnitude and equate it to 1, further if you simplify this, okay, how much we get, if you simplify further, what will be the result we get? Overall result, if you see, K is equal to what? 90 we will get if you simplify this. Okay, so which option is correct here? 90. So, to find gain K we use what? Magnitude condition, that we already explained when we go with the magnitude condition. Okay, means it is satisfied only when phase angle condition is satisfied, but he is already mentioned that that particular point is lies on the what root locus he is saying. Okay. So, now this is the right answer. Move on to the next question here. Which of the following is the what time domain analysis method of control system? If you see here, Nyquist, root locus, Bode plot, Nichols chart, all these methods if you see, stability techniques if you follow here. Okay, stability techniques in time domain. What are the time domain techniques we have? Root locus as well as what? RH stability criteria, means Routh-Hurwitz stability criteria and root locus both comes in our what? Time domain analysis. Frequency domain if you see, what are the techniques in frequency domain if you follow with okay, first one Nyquist, second one is what? Bode plot, and even we have what? Nichols chart. Nichols chart means MN circles, but anyway question is what? Which of the following is what? Time domain analysis method, means only root locus. The rest of 3 comes under what? Frequency domain stability methods. Okay, just only syllabus if you know, you can answer some questions like this. Okay. So, now, so for this question what is the correct answer? Root locus method is related to time domain. Okay. Move on to the next question here. The open loop trans function is given and he is asking what? Both centroid as well as what? Angle of asymptotes, right. If you observe here, just before we had given centroid relation, what is that? Sum of real parts of poles. Real parts of poles means what we get? 0, -2, -4, these are the what? Real parts of poles. What about real parts of zeros? Means only one is there, that is -1, divided by how many poles we have? 3 poles and 1 0, means 3 minus 1. So, simplify further, centroid we will get minus 6, okay, minus 2 minus 4, minus 6 plus 1 by 2 means centroid how much we get, minus 5 by 2. Centroid is equal to minus 2.5. Minus 2.5 is centroid, but here we have all the cases minus 2.5 only. You have to find even angle of asymptotes. If you find angle of asymptotes here, how many angles we get? Number of poles are how many? 3. Number of zeros only 1. So, angle of asymptotes how many we will get? 3 minus 1 means n is equal to 2. What are the angle of asymptotes? How to find? What are the angle of asymptotes? We get 2 cube plus 1 into 180 by n. So, n is equal to 2 means what we get? 2 cube plus 1 into 180 by n is equal to 2 means what we get here? 2 cube plus 1 into 90, but q is equal to 0, what we get? Theta 1 is equal to 90, q is equal to 1, if you substitute theta 2 is equal to, we get what? 270. So, what are the angle of asymptotes when n is equal to 2, 90 and what? 270. So, centroid is what? Minus 2.5 and angle of asymptotes are what? 90 and 270 means this must be our right option here. Just only if you know the centroid formula and angle of asymptote formula, you can answer these questions. Like this only, without calculator we need to answer question means like this only we can expect. Okay, this is our right answer here. Now, let us move on to the next question. Observe the word statement here. What is given? Which of the following statements are read correctly? Okay, this is about identifying the what correct statements while drawing the root locus for open loop trans function. So, statements are given here and we need to check the which statements are what correct related to this. Okay. So, centroid is what? Minus 2. Find out this. What we get? Centroid means real parts of poles means here s square means 0 0. So, 0 plus 0 minus 4. Okay, these are real parts of, okay, what we will say? Poles. Just before in one question we got real parts means minus 1 comma minus 1 only we will get. So, minus 1 means what we get? Minus 2 by total how many poles here? 3 poles and 2 zeros. So, p minus z. So, sigma numerator if you see minus 4 plus 2 by 3 minus 2. 3 minus 2. So, how much we get? So, minus 2 by 1. Okay. Centroid is minus 2 is a what? Correct statement only. And root locus on real axis lies between minus 2 and infinity. Look at this, how we get root locus. Poles are located, okay, 2 poles here and 1 pole is located what? Minus 4, and where zeros are present? S plus 1 whole square means s square plus 2s. Look at that, okay, we will get zeros like this, right? For this, what are the zeros? Minus 1 plus or minus j we will get. So, somewhere here we have zeros, okay, minus 1 plus j and this one is minus 1 minus j. If you do that, what we will get from this? Look at here, definitely root locus on real axis lies between, it is not in between minus 2, it could be even, look at here, crosses and even present in what S plane means consist of real and imaginary part. So, this is not correct statement. Okay. Root loci breakaway at s is equal to 0. Breakaway point if you find, how we find breakaway? Construct characteristic equation 1 plus g of s h of s is equal to 0. From here write expression for k, 1 plus k into s square plus 2s plus 2 by s square into s plus 4 is equal to 0. So, from here k is equal to minus s square into s plus 4 by s square plus 2s plus 2 is, and do that dk by ds is equal to 0. If you follow with this, anyway we get breakaway point at 0 only, this is correct. Angle of asymptotes is at complex 0. Angle of asymptotic axis always on what real axis only, means centroid is always on real axis at what -2. Here only how many poles? 3 poles, and means only one asymptote like along with this. These two are settling with these two zeros. So this is also not the correct one. He is asking what, which one is what correct. Look at this, which one is correct means 1 and 3 are what? Correct statements. 2 and 4 are wrong. So which option is correct? Fourth option is what? Correct for the what given question. Like this you have to check the what statements. Now move on to the next question here. Observe here what is asking in this question. The angle of asymptotes of the root locus of unity feedback system with this transfunction is asking. Just you need to identify number of poles are how many? 2 poles, because second order equation in the what denominator, and number of zeros. If you observe number of zeros, how many zeros? Only 1 0. So n is equal to p minus z, right? So n is equal to 2 minus 1 means only 1. Now how to find angle of asymptotes here? 2 cube plus 1 into 180 by p minus z. So q is equal to what? 0 1 2. Based on the number of asymptotes we substitute this value of q. Here 2 cube plus 1 into 180 by p minus z. Okay, 2 minus 1 we take. So 2 cube plus 1 into only one asymptotic angle. Only one asymptotic means q is equal to 0, you need to substitute. So what is the asymptotic angle? Q is equal to 0 means 1 into 180 means asymptotic angle is what? 180 degrees. So which option is correct? 180 degrees is what? Angle of asymptotic, right or not? Are you understanding? Okay. So like this we need to observe the what questions here, right? Root locus is completely based on the what these rules and regulations. Okay. So it is basically trial and error method, and we are estimating what closed loop system stability based on the what open loop transfunction only, right? That rules and regulations we already listed. Root locus is always symmetrical about what? Real axis. Real axis loci means if a particular point is to be a part of root locus, to the right hand side of that point, what we need to observe? The total number of poles and zeros must be what? Odd number. Then only that particular point is to be a part of root locus. Angle of asymptotes we identify by using that relation. Centroid is the what? Intersection point of angle of asymptotes, right? Breakaway point we construct characteristic equation, and from that differentiate the k and equate to 0 will give the what? Breakaway point. Got the point? And we even did some examples how that root locus branch is what crossing the imaginary axis, intersection with imaginary axis, how you are finding the value of k or what frequency it is crossing, also we observed with the example. Okay. So such questions, okay, we can expect, and you should be very careful in these kind of exams. When statements are given, you read the question properly, whether they are asking correct statement or not correct statement. There we do, means chances are there to do the what? Mistakes. Don't do such things. Okay. So all the best for your exam, and try to keep on revise the what? Summary points, so that we get confidence in that particular area.